All right, guys, in today's video, we're going to be going over replacement of a positive crankcase ventilation pipe, right? A PCV pipe for an Ecotec 1.4 liter turbocharged engine. So these are very brittle plastic pieces. And while we were doing another repair, despite every possible precaution, this guy ended up, kind of getting hung up on something, and it just has to bend a little bit and it'll snap just like that. This is part of the PCV system. This piece goes on the intake manifold, and there's an O-ring inside. It's kind of dark, but you got to trust me, it's in there. And then it locks in with that. And then it's got a hard vacuum line that goes to the wastegate solenoid. And then the whole thing shoots over to the front by the turbocharger, and there's a one-way valve on this end. And then there's another end to the vacuum line. It's kind of involved for what it is to get it off, so I thought it was worth making a quick video. So I'll show you guys how we take this apart. If we take a look at the GM service manual for this, they talk about pulling this locking clip out so that you can remove this elbow from the top of the intake manifold. They talk about loosening it up from the two retainer clips along the side of the camshaft cover. And they tell you about removing the pipe from the intake manifold after you've got that little metal thing. I'll show you this. And then they show you these two vacuum lines. They talk about that you have to loosen up this bypass clamp, remove the bypass pipe, which is an elbow. We'll try it without doing that first, but they say you have to do it, so we'll probably end up having to for clearance reasons. Remove that pipe, disconnect it from the turbocharger, and unclip and remove the assembly. So there's not much to it. Let's just go ahead and take a look at how it goes. So let me grab a tool we can use to free up these little clips here. So we got a little retaining clip here. And we got this guy right here that we're just going to kind of coax apart. Just like that. Now this pipe, let me tell you something about this pipe. The plastic on this pipe is super, super brittle. So you want to be super gentle with this guy. So I'm just trying to get him out of here and close this clip so he'll sit like this. This one he's not going to come out of until we actually remove it here. Now if we zoom in a little bit more, there's a metal retaining clamp here. We're going to pry that off. And normally you're supposed to just be able to leave it like that. Sometimes it can grab if there's any wear inside, and you can go ahead and pull it off the rest of the way. But I'm going to try to leave it like that. And then I'm going to grab a plastic tool that I can pry with here. I'm going to see if I can do it from this angle. I normally like to do it from the other angle, from the opposite side. So I'm just going to give it a little twist. Try to free it up. And again, I'm trying to be super gentle not to break this pipe, because this is just a diag we're trying to do. We're not trying to add to our repair bill. Now I'm going to try to lift up with my finger here. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this metal retainer the rest of the way off. Right there. I'm just going to sit it right up here on the window for a second. There we go. Now it's off. All right, to get the vacuum line, the hard vacuum line on the front underneath the exhaust manifold, it's attached to the wastegate solenoid. And if you see just through this little peaky area here on the camera, you can get a 45-degree angle long nose pliers on that clamp. Give it a squeeze, and then I can't get it on the camera, guys, but then you can work a screwdriver or something and push that pipe off the nipple of the wastegate solenoid. All right, next we're going to work the main pipe and the small vacuum line out of these two clips. And then we're going to move over here to the front where the turbocharger is. You see down here in the pipe, we've got this piece that fits onto the turbocharger. We're going to have to grab this serrated edge, push in on it. Make sure you guys see that, right? So this right here, see where it's kind of serrated there? If we zoom in a little bit, right? There's one on this side, and there's one just like it on the other side. I'm pushing on both while trying to pull it off. It's going to be like one of these PVC kind of connectors. it is going to be a pisser with everything all tightened up in here. I might have to pull this air pipe off to give us enough clearance to get a good grip on this. We'll try it like this first. Nope. Okay, I'm going to remove this pipe so I can get my hand around there. All right, we're going to loosen this clamp first. Whoops. And then we're going to loosen this clamp right down here. Yep, that's loose enough. Should be loose enough. What's she holding on to? She is just really not wanting to come off. Just making sure it's not just a little bit too tight to flex around some ridge or something. Sometimes the simplest things, guys. Simplest things. Not sure why this pipe is not letting go. We have no more travel left on the clamp, so that's not the problem. We don't have any adhesion. I was trying to even get it off this end, and I can't get it to let go on this end either. This side. All right, we finally got that side to let go. There we go, Jesus. All right, now with that pisser out of the way, now we can get this hose to let go of the turbo. So we can get our hand down here, push this thing in like I was telling you before. Come on. This thing is just so old and brittle. It will not squeeze. There it goes. All right, so what we were trying to do when we were fighting with this old brittle plastic, you've got to be able to squeeze this to let this thing unhook from here. There's only one thing left holding it. If we zoom in down here below, we can see there's this vacuum line. There's a clip right here. Get past this hose is blocking the view. There we are, right there. So we're just going to reach down there, get the appropriate tool, and take that one off, just like we did on the one on the intake manifold side. Let's see if we can get in there with this 45-degree angle pliers first. Almost. There, okay. And now we'll come in with a hose remover. Super cramped here. So we can break the adhesion on this. I wouldn't be too aggressive with this. This may be a plastic nipple. There we go. It is. And with that, we finally have, if we zoom back out, we have the old pipe removed. All right. So what are we going to replace it with? We are going to replace it with a new GM 2519 3343. It's going to have both these lines on it, but what it's not going to have is it's going to be missing the clip that we just took off. It goes right on the end. So we're going to have to transfer that over from our old hose. On both ends. These little guys can be really a pain to get on, but all right, so there he is. That's one. And then we're going to have to do the one on the other end as well that hooks up to the intake manifold. And so we're going to take that one off the other end. And slide that on here. And now we're ready to reconnect the new hose. Okay. We're going to have to use the tool to get down here because there's just no room for our hand. And I may have to block your view for just a moment so I can grab this and get it lined up with the nipple. It is a laborious process just because the space is really cramped. All right, so what I got to do now is orient that clamp a little bit back further because I can't get it fully seated on the nipple. So I think what I'll do is I'll just pull it off again. Try to push this back like that. Just get it back on the nipple again. All right, this time we get it all the way on. Hopefully you guys can see because I've got to kind of maneuver every which way to get in here. It's like you just don't have the right angle. We've got this on the nipple the way we can just get this little clamp to cooperate. He's just not wanting to go around the corner here of the elbow. Just got to be patient because it is a plastic nipple, and if you get too aggressive with it, I guarantee you it'll break off. Just like this pipe in general, all these plastic parts on these GM engines. All right, guys, I'm going to have to get a different tool. Let's go ahead and pause for a second. All right. Let's give this guy another squeeze. And let's see if we can coax him around the bend here with this flathead screwdriver. Super annoying. There we go. A little bit further and we'll finally be done with this. All right. Of course, now it went too far. Oh my guys, I don't even know if I'm going to publish this video. Fighting with this stupid spring clip. All right, finally. And then just to make sure he's opened all the way, we're just going to use this screwdriver to kind of force him open. There we go. Holy crap. 10 minutes just on putting a clip on. All right, this guy just snaps on. Just like that, you hear it click. Just kind of like this really big part number sticker. You don't need to leave that on there. Of course, it's not cooperating with us either. All right. Now we're going to go back and put it in on the intake side, but before I do that, let's go ahead and put this elbow that we took off back on. I'm still not really sure why it was so difficult to remove. Naturally, it's just going to slide right on like it never knew what we're complaining about, right? We'll snug this up and then I'll give you the torque value for these after we get it hooked up on the intake manifold side. All right, so while you're here, it's a good time to check and make sure that this hose has no cracks in it. This part's kind of rubbery. This part's kind of stiff plastic. You mess around with it enough, you can damage it, but I don't feel or see anything. So let's move back to the intake manifold side. All right, guys, in my case, we're replacing the intake manifold. So this little guy is easier to see here. It's a little harder with it on already. I'll come back and give you a clip after we get this manifold mounted to give you the view you're going to have normally. I'm going to go ahead and slide that on, and I won't bore you with fighting with this clip again. All right, guys, and then to get that clamp back into position, right, it's coming here with, again, 45-degree angle long nose pliers like we took it off, and push it back on there. And so, you know, this is the best view I can give you. There's just too much stuff in the way. But if I maybe pan out of here, you can see, yeah, so this is where we are, right? And so if we zoom in, then there's the clamp right there, right in the center of the screen. All right, guys, here's a view with a remote camera, and that's how you should end up. In this view, the more silver-looking clamp is the one we just put on, and that is the wastegate solenoid right there in the right of the frame. All right, we're going to take this old wiring or pipe harness clip off because the new one includes a new one, right? So we'll be able to take that, push that in, and then there's another one back here that it's going to sit in, right? So we just want to make sure it's all happy. And this guy is just going to snap in like that, all right? So just a couple more things and we're done. All right, guys, I'm just going to put some clean motor oil around here before we put this pipe back on to the intake. Now it's all snapped back into place. There we go. All right, guys, that's it. We've got the pipe replaced. It's all in its home. I don't think I mentioned as you go, but these clips here, the little hard line sits in a groove at the bottom here and here, and then he snakes off to the side, and only the main corrugated pipe sits in this clip here, and of course this clip here. Make sure you push the metal retainer in when you're done, but other than that, we're done. If you found this video useful and helped you do the repair yourself and save yourself some money, I'd appreciate you paying it forward and hit that like button. And as always, thanks for watching.